is Tarik Talk. Your host, Tarik Mendez, takes you on a journey with guests from all around the world. Broadcasting around the world. Around the world. This is Tarik Talk.
All right, guys, today I have a very special guest here today. Atim, how are you today?
I'm well, thank you.
Thank you so much for being on the podcast. I'm so much looking forward to have this wonderful conversation with you. Do you want to start off by telling us a little bit about yourself?
Oh, I am a Nigerian-born with an American mother who is both from Trinidad and Jamaica.
Oh, wow.
So I grew up in Nigeria, came here to go to school, went to school in architecture in New York and then also in London. Came back to New York and worked in architecture. Did a competition and started a magazine that landed me as an associate chair in product design at Parsons.
Oh, wow.
For about 6 years, and then I left to run my own company, primarily in retail, because I realized that a lot of artists and designers didn't know how to sell their work.
Yeah.
So that was one major thing I did. And then after that, I started to yearn for art in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up, my mother was a collector.
Mm-hmm.
So I grew up around art and I grew up around artists.
Oh, wow.
And I stayed away from them for a very long time because I found them, art is very difficult to sell in general. And artists go through a very difficult time. And I think until I was older, then I realized what skills I had and what I was meant to do based on growing up around it.
Oh, wow. And that's such an amazing story. And how do you think being from such a multicultural background has helped you?
I've lived in New York intentionally. I've also moved to Jersey City intentionally.
Mm-hmm.
Both are about who I am. Most of my friends, most of the people I talk to are either multi-ethnic or have had very multi-layered experiences. I think it helps you because you look at things differently.
Mm-hmm.
You're not looking from the center.
Yeah.
You're looking from the peripheries.
Yes.
And you're observing differently because your eyes are not, for lack of a better word, narrow.
Mm-hmm.
They're much more broader. And you deal with things very differently.
Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh, that's beautiful. And then what made you go into architecture?
I wanted to be an architect since I was 9.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wow.
I like the idea of building things from nothing. I like the idea of really looking at how people live, not necessarily from what most architects think about from the outside, but also from the inside.
Oh, wow.
So it's a little different from what architecture really looks at. Architecture really looks at form.
Yeah.
And I think what it misses is people.
Oh, wow. I never heard an architect say from the within point of view. It's always from the outside. That's so thoughtful of you. Yeah. Because everybody's thinking, let's make it bigger. Let's, have a huge budget.
You experience space differently from the inside.
Yeah.
It actually has more impact on you. The outside, you see it, but then you go in. Yeah. And then you spend most of your time on the in.
Wow. I have to say, you have such a calming energy, such a peaceful aura. I was running around today, so stressed. We had to change the rooms we're in. Meeting you, just calm me down, calm the environment, brought such a good vibe. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And can you tell us a little about the magazine too? I think that's so interesting because you seem very creative and very intelligent too. That you're able to manage such different tasks.
I grew up, my father was a journalist.
Oh, wow, okay.
Right, and I grew up around newspapers and magazines. So it has never looked daunting to me because it's really about how you manage things, more or less, and also how you tell stories. I'm a child of a journalist, so storytelling somewhat comes naturally. My mother's also an educator.
Oh, wow.
So those combinations, I listen differently to things. I'm always curious about who people are and what the stories and what really has happened in people's lives.
Oh wow! And like growing up with such like a interesting multicultural background, like you today, are you able to like relax, or are you always just thinking like and being inspired by your surroundings? Because like, you know, having such talented professional parents and then being from like a multicultural background, are you able to like be in the moment, or are you always just like inspired and observing?
I think sometimes I work mostly differently from most people. I kind of stay in the background intentionally because you hear things differently, you observe differently, and then you also communicate differently. I'm always searching for why things work the way they work and why we don't change things.
Yeah.
You know, there's a consistency of things remaining the same. And I've sort of always gone into projects or anything I do, things have to shift. And I think that as humans, we're not comfortable with change.
Yes, unfortunately.
We also like things the same way over and over. And I think that to a certain degree, coming from a different kind of world, where, you know, I grew up in Nigeria. Nigeria changed frequently. You know, I lived in London. London was very interesting to live in at a time when London was changing also. So all these places I've lived, whether it's Brooklyn, whether it's Jersey City, there's always this constant change. And I think that I find myself in the midst of it, really captured by it on one level, but also trying to make sure that I don't get caught up in it.
Yeah.
You know, it shifts in such dramatic ways. The Brooklyn that I lived in for 20 years is not the same. And the Jersey City that I've lived in for about 9 years isn't the same place. And I'm also not the same person.
Yeah.
You know, I think that we don't recognize that we change ourselves in the midst of things.
Yeah. Well, that's beautiful. I can hear you talk all day. It's like so interesting. And then, are you like comfortable with like, I mean, you seem like to have such like an exciting life and point of view in the world. Are you like kind of like always thinking of the next project or next place you want to live, or are you able to like?
I sort of am by nature, because of being trained as an architect, and also being raised by a parent who was focused on early childhood education. You have to plan.
Yes.
Okay. I think that I plan sometimes way ahead of most people. But that plan doesn't necessarily mean that everything happens. Yeah. So I'm always amazed that certain things happen exactly as I planned. Yeah. And then there are things that become happenstake. Wow. You know, because I think you need both. You need sort of the structure of a plan, and then you need the flexibility that something's going to change. Yeah. And you should always leave yourself a little open to stop doing something or to continue or to start something new. Or to adapt, Yeah.
And what's your sign?
Ooh. I'm Aquarius.
Oh, you're Aquarius. Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. I love Aquariuses. No, I was just thinking like a few people. At first I thought you were Scorpio because I'm a Scorpio too. We have like a lot of similarities. But do you have, I don't know if you're going to be able to answer this question, but do you have like a favorite place you lived so far?
That's hard for me. I've traveled a lot. I've lived briefly in Ghana, lived in Nigeria most of my life, in some sense of my youth. I've lived in London. I've lived in Paris. I find that very hard to answer because there are, for me, vignettes of each of those cities that I love. Yeah. I'm a child who grew up in a small city, so coming to big cities have always been the most exciting things. Oh, wow, yeah. I like parts of Brazil. I like parts of India, parts of Korea. So I'm not one person that says there has to be a favorite because I think in different parts of my life, things have been fantastic here or here or here. So I don't like the one of, I like the many as the option.
Oh, wow. Do you ever like find yourself, since you travel so much and live in so many different places, like throughout your day to day, do you ever have flashbacks of certain memories in different cities that you live, whether it's like wanting like a certain food from a place or going to a park that where you used to live? Like, do you ever have those type of moments?
I do. I mean, I have, some reoccurring moments. I mean, every time September 11 comes up, I remember going to Egypt after the shooting of Torres. I remember going into a couple of cities where they bombed. So for my flashbacks, there are different kinds of memories. In terms of the happy stuff, it is going to school in London and going to a place called Wagamama's, and then sort of finding it in New York and just having this like memory of, oh my God, this is the most fantastic thing I remember. But then tasting the food, I'm like, it's not the same. Or just having great memories of friends, family, vacations, really taking the time out to look at the moments in your life that are poignant. For most people, it's graduation. It's, for me, it's very different experiences, like getting lost in cities for me are probably the most important moments. Because it's not about panicking. It's really about embracing that this is the path you're on. And no matter how difficult it might be in that moment, it's also going like really spending some time going to Poland with a friend of mine I hadn't seen in years, and I'll take you on a tour. You're here for how many days? So those things are important to me. And do you have, for like thinking in the future, do you have like any dream project that if you could do without like worrying about budget or like whatever rules there are, that if you could like knew 100% it would be successful, or you could do it if you had the time? I think I've always done my dream projects. For a lot of people, my father died a little early.
I'm sorry.
So for me, I look at life as short. So while I'm here, I'm going to do everything I do. And that sort of marked itself from even my education, choosing to stay in architecture, choosing to pivot out of it, moving into different kinds of things. I went to school in London because I wanted to go. There was never a plan as such. I happened to be in France for the summer, and I heard about this fantastic school. And I was like, oh, I'm interested. And I went back home to Brooklyn, and I just did some research, and I applied. Like people have this like 5-year plan. I kind of have a 6-year, but the 6-year has nothing to do with that kind of structure. It is about shifting with the rhythms of myself. I go through it. I even recognize when I'm really going to shift. 2 years before I begin to feel it, and I begin to sort of move towards it. I think a lot of us are resistant. Because I've come out of several careers, I don't fear change. I watch artists and people who are in the art sector. They think through things so long. And I'm very different. I want to go to the next space. Because I want to experience it. And most people circle around the next space.
And like live in fear almost.
To me, it shouldn't be.
That's funny that you said that, because I agree with that. I feel like when you experience death in a way, you realize how fragile and short life is, you know?
And you constantly will have moments of it across your life. Whether it's family, whether it's friends. So the question for me, has always been, what are you doing here now? And how much time do you have? And do the things you love. I think that we've been taught to seek the things we love, but not do them. Which to me is
that's beautifully
dangerous
said.
In some sense. Because there's an expression, what you love is costly. So you don't spend the money on it. You do everything else but the focus on the things you love. Wow,
I love how like fearless you are and how you're able to adapt to change and kind of like you seem like a very spiritual person, but how you said you're able to like feel change coming, I think that's so important, like preparing yourself instead of being like hesitant. You know,
I think it's my mother left the United States and moved to Africa and moved to Nigeria in 1963.
Oh wow.
So if someone can shift that drastically, okay, and to be raised around parents who made leaps like that. My father came to school to this country in the 50s.
Oh wow.
So I've had those two people as signifiers for jump.
Oh wow.
What are you waiting for?
Yeah.
You might as well do it now. You don't want to reflect backward and say you missed this opportunity.
Yeah. Wow. I feel like if you're able to like go to a new country that you don't speak the language or you're not used to their customs and and adapt and survive, I feel like you literally can do anything.
I've done that in several different times. So I don't
You're an Olympian.
Yeah. I mean, I think for me it's the curiosity of the world. I grew up around, I have 4 brothers, and for us the world was our oyster.
Oh wow.
So you went into it, you experienced it, you settle at some point when you stay in one place stationary. But I think that the joy of being alive is to experience all of it in some ways.
That's beautiful. Do you ever have like like an itch? Like if you're at a place for too long and you haven't traveled, do you start to like
I do
think like, okay, I need a trip, I need to like, I need something spontaneous?
Yeah, I do. One of the things that I have learned, because I've lived in New York and lived here in Jersey City, when that itch becomes interestingly sort of hovering, I go to the sort of the image of a country that I would go to, and I would go to that neighborhood. I'll go find somebody in that country. And sort of the luck that I have is those people will walk into my life. Yeah. And I will say, well, okay, I'm interested in Turkey. What do I need to think about?
Wow.
And I will have long conversations. And it happens naturally in a sense. For whatever I'm curious about, sometimes I speak it out and I hear it and it happens.
Oh, wow.
So I think that we manifest what we want.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I love that. That's like, I do that with meditation too. Like I always call it like a download. It feels like that's so interesting that you like think of it and then you see like the country and then you go to the neighborhood. Did you ever have an experience where that happened to you, like where you like felt like the need and desire to travel and you thought of the image of the country and then you went there and you like saw something or met somebody that was kind of like a full circle moment to your thought before you traveled?
I mean, I think for me, I remember spending time in France, and I remember thinking I had missed a Miles Davis concert.
Oh, wow.
And a group of us were in France, and I think that was one of his last concerts.
Oh.
And a group of us went to that concert, and I didn't go. And they got late, and I came back to the US saying, oof, I missed that again.
Wow.
And I remember saying to my friends who had left because they had gone to the concert, and I kept saying to myself, why didn't I go to this?
Yeah.
And then I came back to the US and Miles Davis had passed away that year, and I kept saying to myself, I missed that. I missed that. So I think for me, those are the moments when I say what I think, what I hope, what I do. I act.
And did that change you in a way for like future experiences to like, no, go with the flow, don't think too much?
It made me clear that, if there was a desire for something, that I needed to fulfill it.
Yeah.
And then sometimes some of it, you go and you're like, okay, it's not exactly what you hoped.
Oh, wow.
But you also have to understand that life is about balance. Things are great and then things are not.
Yeah. Wow. And how are you able to like you do so much and you seem like such a busy woman professionally. How are you able to like be so calm and so positive? Like, do you, like, what's your, like, let's say like your mental health practice? Do you meditate? Do you do anything for yourself, like a hobby?
I am probably hobbyless, as someone called me. They said to me, "What do you do?" I said, "I read." One. I spend a lot of time with friends. I talk a lot. I have a couple of friends that, I can start talking from probably like 6 a.m. in the morning for about 3-hour long conversations. And I think one of the things that I've learned is to laugh.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't laugh.
Yeah.
They take things so seriously. And one of the joys of having several very good friends is I would call and I said, "Did you watch that? Or did you see that?" And then I would make a comment and she would say, or he would say, "Oh, what do you mean by that?" And I'm like, "You don't get the joke." So humor, laughter. Yeah. I also walk a lot. Mm-hmm. So, for a lot of people, that's a habit from New York. Yeah. Wherever I go, I walk. Mm-hmm. I would actually clearly take some 2 or 3 stops before and then walk it. Yeah. Because I want to experience spaces differently.
Oh, wow. And then walking, I have a question. Was this something like, did you always like walk because you have like prior engagements to do, or did you just like walk for fun, like for being spontaneous?
I did both. I walk. Sometimes I just leave my apartment and I just walk.
Oh, wow.
And I'm also always looking for a different path. Yeah. I take certain paths most days, but sometimes I'm like, I need to go off the track, off the path, because you see something different. Yeah. Because life is regular. Yeah. The sun comes up, the sun goes down. Yeah. In between is what you do with it.
Yeah. That's beautifully said. Yeah. I was just like talking to my mom about this. Sometimes like if I take like the same way, like throughout my daily routine and I do a different path, like my whole like perspective changes. Like I have new ideas. I just like, it's amazing how if we let it, life can be like stagnant and boring, and it puts you can like put your own self in a box. But if you change just a little bit, it's like your
I
whole
think we're
view.
regular people. I always tell people oatmeal in the morning. Whatever you eat every morning, you keep eating the same thing, and it always begs the question: why are we doing that to ourselves?
Absolutely.
Is there something you could change? What is it? How do you change it in your life?
Wow. And were you always like able to adapt so easily, or was this like something that happened like slowly throughout your life?
I grew up with 4 brothers, so adaptability is required.
You're the only girl?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Okay. So you have to adapt. Yeah. Okay. I also grew up with a lot of family friends. Okay. So different opinions. People would say things, you would want to cry. Yeah. So you got to a point where doesn't affect me. Yeah. And then when I came in to study architecture is more brutal in terms of design studio work. You have someone telling you the work is crap. Okay. Oh wow. And I remember doing a summer program at one of the schools I was at, and I watched a professor fling the work out of the window. No. And I was just like, oh, this is going to be different. Yeah. What temperature do I keep myself in, and how do I make sure my emotion stability stays intact, doing architecture. Oh, wow. Because architecture, when I hear people talk about art and criticism, I smile because it's mild compared to what I've come from. Yeah.
It's like you can't even compare.
No, I mean and this was for architecture 5-year degree. Yeah. You have a studio almost every semester. Oh wow! So that's 10 different studios of sort of rigorous abuse.
Oh my goodness, that's
so because you're dealing with 5 different opinions. So you've got to figure out how you, in a sense, curate your reaction and not get angry. But also get angry. I developed a ritual where I would go into a bathroom and I would scream. Oh, wow. Okay. And people would, there would be people in the bathroom, and they were like, "What the heck is going on?" I'm releasing tension. Yeah,
no, you have to. Yeah,
it's out, and then I go back into the studio.
Yeah, all cleansed and ready to take on the world.
Because the world doesn't have to see your angst.
Absolutely, yeah.
You know,
I like that. If you could like go, like you today could like tell a younger version of yourself and one advice, like what would you tell her?
I think my younger self probably, if I had to give her advice, I would have probably started as a curator first.
Oh wow.
But I think that my architecture education and those experiences, the multitudes of it, make me who I am.
Mm-hmm.
I don't lessen that.
Oh wow.
You know, I wouldn't subtract all of the experiences I've had,
mm-hmm.
because they make you a better person in life.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah.
They are layered for a reason.
Yeah. Wow. If you could have dinner with anybody in the world, dead or alive, who would it be?
I think Prince.
The singer?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I think Miles Davis would be another.
Mm-hmm.
Nina Simone.
Oh, I love Nina Simone.
Yeah. So for me, there is a little bit of celebrity in it,
mm-hmm.
but it's really about wanting to, hear them.
Yeah.
Wanting to learn what makes you who you are.
Yeah.
And what battles do you fight?
Yeah.
For me, Prince is one, because I think that as a musician, he dared to be different,
mm-hmm.
and didn't give a...
Exactly.
And Nina Simone was the same.
Amazing, yeah.
That kind of, I don't really care.
Yeah.
And I think that's important for artists. I think that is important for the art community
mm-hmm.
in general, that you have to sort of be,
mm-hmm.
But don't be regular.
Yeah, don't be regular. But it's interesting, all the people that you mentioned, not only were I think they were like professionally so talented, mm-hmm. but also like all of them, I think they were like so ahead of their time.
Yeah.
Like Nina Simone with her activism, like the ideas she had then,
mm-hmm.
I feel like today she would have been much more successful.
I don't know whether success is,
because I feel not like in the commercial selling, but I mean like having like people back her up, because I feel like she was kind of like shut off from the media and kind of a little bit blacklisted.
Yeah, because I think, but that's important as an artist. You need to be blacklisted.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're afraid of censorship
mm-hmm.
As artists. I think that censorship challenges the cultural society.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it makes us ask, what do we value?
Yeah.
So I think for her, I look at her experience as, if she didn't go through what she went through, we wouldn't value her as much.
Oh, absolutely. But I also feel like, I don't know, my heart breaks a little bit, because I feel like she felt she was alone, and I hope that she didn't, because I feel like she was censored a lot,
Yeah, but I think the artists that I've mentioned are always going to be alone.
Yeah.
Because in a sense, when you pioneer, you don't pioneer with a group of people.
Yeah.
It's very rare, because to be at that place, it is isolation.
Mm-hmm.
You have to stay away from a lot of people and create. And I think that the creativity at its best and at its worst is vital.
Yeah.
I think that she was living in a very particular time.
Mm-hmm.
We are in the midst of that other time again.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So I think that everybody has to live in the period that they are in.
Mm-hmm.
We can't hope they should be in this age.
Yeah.
Because I think they had value in that time period.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, even when Prince, like decades ago, he was already talking about sampling music.
Yeah.
I love like his interviews where he was saying people are going to sample the sample in the future.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what's happening, And I think he was so genius how he was able to find a way around, owning his masters.
Yeah.
With like such a racist music corporation system, you know what I mean? Like how he was one of the first ones to pioneer and say, no, artists needs to own their masters. They need to be in control of their business, you know, read the contracts. I think especially for back then, people thought, oh, he's just being like, you know, a diva, or, you know, what is he talking about?
But I also think that's part of the biggest fight for artists. We don't want to collaborate to work and create the entities that should run us.
Yeah.
But when others create it, then we have to come into some conflict with it.
Yeah.
I think that the idea to change your name and your identity and to basically force a corporation to acknowledge that what they're doing is wrong is vital to society. Because I think that the business of art needs to be discussed in a different context for artists themselves.
Yeah. That's beautifully said. Well, all right. So this year, you're in charge of the JCAST, the 36th annual JCAST. Can you tell us how that's been going on so far for you?
I think JCAST is an interesting project, and I'm going to use that word because it's not a company. I think that the 36th year, you know, interestingly for me, is 6. So my life runs around 6 and numbers. I put together a team with 5 other women, so it's 6 of us. And the team is people who, for lack of a better word, are middle-aged women. Which, you know, when I say that to people, they look at me like strangely. It's not a negative. It's about people who have very clear experiences and understand themselves personally even more, and at a point in their lives where they want to do something poignant and different. So the team is a group of interesting women who somewhat work differently and individually and collectively. Each of them are similar to me in the sense that they are passionate about art and also passionate about artists. Less about institutions. So it was really putting together the team. The second part of it was to take a look at what had happened previously and really start to really look at putting together something that would really respect the work of artists, would really center it around artists, less about institutions, find a way to look at art broadly. So I think the last producer was very focused on visual art only as the center. I thought from even the proposal I put together, that was somewhat of a mistake, given that this is a city that has a variety of artists, and to take visual art as the only component, you neglect an audience around the other art. So for me, it was very important to bring back music, spoken word and poetry, dance, performance, and we added film this year. Yeah, that for me meant that in some ways you looked at the canvas of the arts here differently. Poetry sometimes gets cast away. We have a film community here, most of whom go to New York or Newark. It doesn't stay here. And I think the other arts programs kind of are neglected. So in some ways, this was a strategy to rebuild it as part of this process. The second aspect of it was to connect JCAST to business, to wellness, to technology, because these are the things that are in the city. And to do it like it was this special little art project felt unfair to it, that we needed to connect it to whatever else happens here. Because I think artists tend to sort of isolate themselves and then they don't understand why the rest of the community doesn't engage. So this was a way to start to invite the rest of the community back to us, so that we were not this small little thing that happens. Because those were the comments I kept hearing. Oh, is that thing that happens with artists? And I was like, not a good thing. Let's invite other people to it. Because at the end of the day, those are your customers. Those are your collectors. Those are your observers. Those are your participants.
I love that you mentioned like how the six is so important in your life.
Yeah.
36, 6 women. And I find it interesting that you have like such an amazing professional career, and like everything you've been through is like perfect for now, from like your curator program, like curator experience, being able to think from like an artist's point of view and then to help artists. I think that's very, very like genius to think outside of the box, like see from a different perspective, because I didn't think about that, because it's always been about art, mostly like paintings, sculptures, maybe a little photography, but the fact that you're able to like bring such a wide audience, even like the film, that's very amazing.
I think we forget that in some ways these are our colleagues. They live around us. They do the things we do. We actually use some of their work, when we tell stories. We put together small videos of ourselves, our work, and the idea that we separate from them, for me it's been trouble. I grew up around all of that. So to be told that this is the only part of the arts we should focus on, particularly given what the history was. It came from a group of artists who brought musicians into their spaces. So the idea that we will strip it down, for me, was problematic.
Yeah. And do you want to share like any of the programs leading up that you're working on, and then that we can like all like go to see?
We are going to start with a opening, and the opening is we got space donated by a very progressive realtor or real estate person who ironically did JCAST, who actually gave us space in 2016. So this time we're not in the front space, we're in the back of the same space. So for me, it's all about, how do you connect the past to the future? The opening will have several things. One is an exhibition. As always, JCAST always has a main exhibition. We will also have 2 awards that we're giving out for the first time. We're doing a JCAST Legend Awards, and we're doing one to Ruth Moore, who owns Moore's Lounge, who just passed. She was one of the jazz pioneers who basically, if you were a jazz musician in Jersey City, you probably played at the lounge. She just passed away recently. The second is a hip-hop photographer who is well known and is a Jersey City resident. Ernie, I never can pronounce his name, but he's known as Brother Ernie, and basically has shot all of the major hip-hop artists in the country.
He has a studio in Mana, right? Yeah. I don't know how to pronounce his.
But I think that's important because it's really looking at the history of music from a jazz perspective, and then looking at somebody who's documenting, 50 years of hip-hop, and someone who lives here, and someone who has really fantastic photography, and he's an artist. So you give an award to someone who has housed artists and supported them, and then you give an honor to someone who is 78 years old and has lived in Jersey City and has worked in New York City and globally, really photographing a particular history. The second part of JCAST is we started to institute art talks to talk about collecting and the business of art. So there will be several workshops on Saturday. There will be a second exhibition at Batoon Center, and that exhibition is done by an emerging curator who's also looking at art in a different way. There will be similar scenarios. There's going to be tours again. There's the bike tour, there's the LGBTQ tour, and some community tours so that people can go and look at the art. So that's about it for JCAST. And then we'll have an amazing closing party at Magnum Opus in Bergen Lafayette area. So the tour has shifted a bit. It's more focused a little bit about Bergen Lafayette, Journal Square, the Heights, primarily because I think that art has shifted, and artists that have lived in those neighborhoods have been ignored.
That's very interesting. And I mean, with so many projects and being able to think outside the box, how are you able to still be so put together and so sane? Because I can only think of the logistics and the planning.
I think the logistics for me is easy as a former architect. And I say that because that's what we do. We project manage everything. I think that the second part of it was to put together a team, and also sort of let go and delegate. This is yours. This is yours. You work on these exhibitions. You work on, bringing together musicians, and then let's huddle to talk about what's missing and what we can do and what help you need.
Oh wow! I'm very excited for the JCAST tour. And do you want to share? You said the closing party was.
Yeah, the closing party is at Magnum Opus in Bergen Lafayette area.
For everybody listening that want to keep track of all the cool events happening, what's the best way to see the invites? Is it a mail?
We've got a bunch of things, and I say a bunch of things. We've put together an Eventbrite intentionally so that we can register people, and the registration is for us is a way to understand what events people are interested in. It's also a way because we're planning to do JCAST next year to begin to gather an audience. If you're interested, you can go to djcast.com, THEJCAST.com. You can also find us on Instagram, and Instagram is a little tricky. It's JC_Art Studio Tour. But if you look for JCAST, you will always find us. Yeah.
Already thinking for next year, what you want to do as you're working within this year?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the things that we were very clear on was really first prioritizing what we needed to do, which was get artists to basically register their studios first and foremost. Then the second thing was to spend the time really looking for space for one of the exhibitions. There were several places that we almost had or didn't have. So for us structurally, the question is, do we do it in the space that we have currently? Do we also do 2 exhibitions next year? I think the primary thing for Jersey City is there's a lack of space for the kinds of exhibitions that we need to have here. So that's one. For us this year is inviting several new communities in, from the musicians to the spoken word artists to the film, so that they are understanding what this is. I think the third element of this is funding. And, how do you raise money in a short period of time? So for us, next year gives us more time to fully raise the money that we need. And also really to look at what kind of show we should have. This year, I had a theme intentionally to stretch it. Next year, I will also have another theme because I think we need to start to theme things so that artists challenge themselves. Just not put together, all right, I'm working on JCAST, I will have these things. But challenge yourself as to select and self-curate your own work or decide to produce work, you know.
Are people able to donate to JCAST? Is there a way that they
Got a GoFundMe. If you go to our Instagram page, you would find the GoFundMe. What I've asked people to do is just donate. If you want to donate $1, well, it's okay. You know, anything helps because there's expenses. I mean, the city is covering a lot of the expenses this year. But I think there's a whole range of expenses that accumulate because of trying to do the two shows and also trying to get people to work on things for the shows.
And if people listening right now, they know like somebody and that person knows somebody, or can they reach out to you guys to like possibly like donate a space for the show?
For next year?
Yeah, for next
Absolutely.
year. Okay, so whoever's listening, please reach out, help out. It's a great program. And do you have anything that that you can share about next year's, like, or are you still so in the moment now?
I think still, we've got literally 14 days left. So in the next 14 days, there are the things that we've done that we know that work. We know certain things we're going to change. And I don't know what I want to announce that yet, but I think, for the next, I think there are things that need to change. I think that Jersey City and the Jersey City arts community needs to make some decisions about what it wants and what it values. And I think they did that by setting up a process for this year. I think that process also has to expand in a different way for next year.
All right, so for people that like want to attend, I feel like a lot of people sometimes don't attend. Like people that are not in the arts, they're a little hesitant and scared to like attend the art events. And I always tell them like, no, go support, buy from a local artist, take pictures, put it on social media, help out. Do you have like any like advice?
I think to me, JCAST this particular year, you can come listen to some music. SIP Studio is doing some amazing work, and that's a film studio that decided to participate. They have been in this city for more than 15 years. Never heard about JCAST. So for me, I'm happy about the newbies because that tells me that we've crossed some territory. I think you need to come listen to music. You need to come listen to artists. You need to come listen to spoken word. VIP Lounge is doing a weekend with, there's an organizer who's doing a poetry and a whole music. And so there are new things for JCAST this year. I think that the beauty of it is you can actually go right now to the website. There is a JCAST map. You can actually start to plan your day a little bit by looking to see what's there. We will, by next week, have the entire schedule up on the website. We've had 12 weeks to plan something that took probably almost 6 months for most of the city.
Oh, wow. You only had 12 weeks?
We had 12 weeks. I got a call July 3rd. You're the selected producer. And I'm like, okay, what do I do July? What do I do July?
Year,
nope.
Or at least like 10 months.
Nope. We got a phone call July 3rd.
That's amazing that you're able to put it together and so well.
Well, you select a good team.
Yeah.
You have a strategy and you have a plan.
Yeah.
And you go and try and execute most of it.
Well, it's the universe. The 36 and 6 people on board, so 6 is the lucky number. And then going like thinking of the future, like what do you hope for like Jersey City in terms of the art scene?
Ooh, that's a loaded question.
Yes.
As somebody who came here based on what I saw from far and coming to JCAST, looking at JCAST before I moved here, 10 years later, I don't know why I'm here. And the question is that it has so much potential. And I think the potential every single year disappears. So for me to engage in this is to help rebuild it. I remember bringing a series of curators from New York to come to see artists here.
Mm-hmm.
So I want that same feeling, not just about curators from New York, but that we have a sustainable art ecosystem that works for artists, that works for the galleries that are here, the institutions that are here, and primarily brings the audience that is here. Besides artists, I think the issue for JCAST primarily it's been a little tilted towards artists coming to see the shows. Mm-hmm. I think it needs to broaden wider, so that people who live here, so that people who work here come to see the shows. I think that there needs to be a process for investment here. I think that there's the art fund, but the art fund got funded. JCAST didn't get funded enough. So that tells you about where we are. I think that we have government institutions, not just the mayor's office. There are a whole series of city council people. Because here's the thing. JCAST happens in all of their wards.
Oh, wow.
And they don't engage. They don't donate to it. They don't, but they all show up for pictures.
Oh.
So the question for me is, because I come out of living in Brooklyn, and most of the city council people put money in the arts. So to be in a city where artists are used as, for photographs, and not actually invested in, is very troubling to me.
Because I feel like it has such a potential.
It has a fantastic potential. I think the other element of this is that we are losing spaces for artists because we actually haven't created enough spaces for them. Real estate has made luxury a priority rather than regular people. So to me, artists need spaces.
Absolutely. And they need the support from the community. So everybody, please show up, buy from your local artist. If you can't buy, just attend, support them, talk to them, engage, promote them on social media. I'm very interested about the poetry. That's really cool. I never how do you form art if you don't read poetry? Absolutely.
How do you form art if you don't listen to music?
Because I feel like, as an artist myself, I feel like in Jersey City sometimes we can start to be in our own little bubble. So you have 30 bubbles of people that are just poetry, people that are just painters and sculptors. So we only hear of ourselves and of each other, But I feel like
engage in it.
Exactly, we're in New York, it's everybody's mixed. It feels like, I guess, what Studio 54 was, where you have such a vast demographic of everybody, and everybody's mingling with each other. So I think this is great. This year I'm very excited, and I can't wait to hear the theme for next year. Hopefully, when you get the planning and everything, we could do an interview for that, and then look back on this year's. That would be very cool. It has been such a pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
Of course, it's been my honor. Thank you so much. I can't wait until we do the next episode. And do you want to just share again all the info, for the donate? It's on Eventbrite. Instagram. You guys are on Instagram. They can do the planning on the
map, JCAST map. So if you're curious about JCAST, just head to thejcast.com. thejcast.com. That's one. If you're interested in coming to JCAST, and I'm suggesting you come all 3 days because it's a lot of art. We have about 180 locations and events, and just from artist studios to galleries to institutions to a series of events. Head to Eventbrite. Just look for thejcast.com or look for Jersey City Art and Studio Tour. And then head to our website at djcast.com. Events will be listed there. Head to Instagram, and Instagram will be JC_Art Studio Tour. And you also can go to TikTok. It's DJ. We're still working on the TikTok version yet.
Oh, I love TikTok. And do you want to share your personal Instagram so people like can follow you and see the behind the scenes?
I'm very focused on JCAST.
Okay. All right. Perfect.
Very focused on JCAST.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, 12 weeks. You probably don't have time to like breathe, I guess, right?
I haven't looked at my TikTok or my
Oh
Instagram
my
or
God.
anything else.
Well, I cannot wait. Thank you again for being on the show. I love speaking with you, and I can't wait for this year's JCAST.
Absolutely.
Thank
you for listening to Tarik Talk. Follow Tarik Talk on all social media channels and check out the video interviews online.